Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Parivajrakacharya Ashtottara Shuddha Shishma. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Seventh Canto, The Science of God, Chapter 5, Prahlāda, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, text 56 and 57. Te, tu, tad, goravat, sarve, tvakta, Kida Parichadaha Bala Adushita Dio Dvandvarame Rete Hitai Te tu tad guravat sarve Tvaktva krida parichadaha Bala udishita dio Dvandvarame rete hitai Te tu tad guravat sarve Tvaktva krida parichadaha Bala udishita dio Dvandvara meri te hitai Te tu tad goravat sarve Tvaktva parichadaha Bala udishita dio Dvandvara meri te hitai Te. Okay, you go, please. Te. They. Tu. Indeed. Tat Gauravat. From great respect for the words of Prahlāda Mahārāja, due to his being a devotee. Sarve, all of them. Tokta, having given up. Krida Parichadaha, toys for playing. Balaha, the boys. Udishitadya, whose intelligence was not as polluted as that of their fathers. Dvandva, in duality. Arama, of those taking pleasure. The instructors, namely Ṣaṇḍa and Amarka. Irita, by the instructions. Itai, and actions. Parupasata Rajendra Tanyasta Hridayek Shanaha Tanaha Kuruno Maitra Maha Bhagavato Suraha. All right, we could do the word by word for this too. Parupasata, sat down around. Raja Indra, O King Yudhishthira. Tat, unto him. Nyastya, having given up. Hridaya ikshanaha, their hearts and eyes. Tan, unto them. Aha, spoke. Kurunaha, very merciful. Maitraha, a real friend. Mahabhagavataha, a most exalted devotee. Vasuryaha, Prahlāda Mahārāja, all the born of an Asura father. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O dear King Yudhishthira, all the children were very much affectionate and respectful to Prahlāda Mahārāja, and because of their tender age, they were not so polluted by the instructions and actions of their teachers, who were attached to condemned duality and bodily comfort. Thus the boys surrounded Prahlāda Mahārāja, giving up their playthings, and sat down to hear him. Their hearts and eyes being fixed upon him, they looked at him with great earnestness. Prahlāda Mahārāja, although born in a demon family, was an exalted devotee, and he desired their welfare. Thus he began instructing them about the futility of materialistic life. Purport. The words Bala Udishita Dya indicate that the children, being of a tender age, were not as polluted by materialistic life as their fathers. Prahlāda Mahārāja, therefore, taking advantage of the innocence of his class friends, began teaching them about the importance of spiritual life and the insignificance of materialistic life. Although the teachers, Ṣaṇḍa and Amarka, were instructing all the boys in the materialistic life of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, the boys were not much polluted. Therefore, with great attention, they wanted to hear from Prahlāda Mahārāja about Krishna consciousness. In our Krishna consciousness movement, the Gurukul plays an extremely important part in our activities because right from childhood, the boys of the Gurukul are instructed about Krishna consciousness. Thus they become steady within the core of their hearts, and there is very little possibility that they will be conquered by the modes of material nature when they are older. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Prahlāda Mahārāja, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Om Ganatibadandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Madatamena Tasmai Shri Guruvena Mahamakam Gadivachalam Pangam Langai. Take it in. Yat Kripata Maham Vande Shri Gurundi Tarinam Vancha Kapadribishta Kripasundabeva Chapatita Nampavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gauda Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, translation again. My dear King Yudhishthira, all of the children were very much affectionate and respectful to Prahlāda Mahārāja, and because of their tender age, they were not so polluted by the instructions and actions of their teachers, who were attached to condemned duality and bodily comfort. Thus the boys surrounded Prahlāda Mahārāja, given up their playthings, and sat down to hear him, their hearts and eyes being fixed upon him. They looked at him with great earnestness. Prahlāda Mahārāja, although born in a demon family, was an exalted devotee, and he desired their welfare. Thus he began instructing them about the futility of materialistic life. We're about halfway through this pastime. We're starting another chapter, a new chapter tomorrow, chapter 6, in which Prahlāda Mahārāja will instruct his classmates. And then the next chapter, I believe, is a chapter of what he learned in the womb from Narada Muni. And then after that, there's a chapter. The chapter is the next chapter after that is describing the death of Hiranyakashipu. And then there's another 2 chapters after that, and then goes into another topic of the Bhagavatam. But yeah, we're going to be entering a very important chapter tomorrow. And there's so many wonderful verses that Prahlāda Mahārāja speaks. And these verses were quoted by Srila Prabhupada quite a lot in his preaching throughout the world, his instructing his disciples and others in Krishna consciousness. So they are, you could say, noteworthy prayers to be remembered. Our prayers are instructions to be remembered. Prayers will come later, but next chapter will be instructions. For those of you who are interested in learning verses. Saul, do you think you could close that door, please? So I hear that loud oven. I don't know if normal ovens do that, or if it's just Hare Krishna ovens, but really loud. Yeah, I don't think it's really normal. Makes such a loud noise. You hear that? Jeez. Yeah, and one disciple, he asked Srila Prabhupada, which it's been mentioned before here, but he asked Prabhupada about, he was trying to understand the mood of Srila Prabhupada. And then he was, you could say, speculating or, guessing, trying to guess Prabhupada's mood. And he said, are you in the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes. He said, I'm always trying to, Prabhupada used the term often, deliver these fools, he would call materialistic people, fools and rascals from material existence. I'm always trying to save them. So it's an interesting, you could say, it's an interesting thing that Prabhupada said, that he's in the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja. And it should be of interest to us to study the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja, which will be very clearly described in the next chapter, how he's instructing his classmates. and which will also be very clearly described in his prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev after Lord Nrsimhadev kills Hiranyakashipu. So we will understand the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja by hearing from him, hearing his instructions, hearing his prayers. And really that's how we understand anyone. Like if you want to get to know someone, you have to talk with them, see what's going on upstairs, going on in their mind. And as Prabhupada would say, a fool is disguised, right? You can never know who's a fool until they speak, right? I said a devotee should be judged also by their speech, one thing. So we'll get a very clear idea who Prahlāda Mahārāja is by hearing from him. And we'll know his mood in that way also. So similarly with Srila Prabhupada, hearing from Srila Prabhupada, his lectures, we'll get a very clear idea who he is. Same with reading his books, which is kind of like hearing, reading his books. And then we're hoping that the idea is that by associating with these personalities like Prahlāda Mahārāja, who Srila Prabhupada said he's in the mood of, Prabhupada didn't say he's in the mood of anyone else. I mean, he didn't say he's in the mood of any other devotee in the Bhagavatam. Unless, maybe he did, maybe you could. But as far as I remember. So, of course, so yeah, we have to hear, and then hopefully the idea is that their particular mood, which after all, I mean, to be a part of a movement that somebody started, like Srila Prabhupada, it's Prabhupada's movement, the Hare Krishna movement, it's not anybody else's movement, last time I checked. So to be part of Srila Prabhupada's movement means to try to understand the mood of the person who started the movement, or the attitude, the mood, try to understand the person, because after all, he's the main example. He's the one we're supposed to be following. And everybody else, all the other gurus who come after Prabhupada, which there are gurus coming after Prabhupada, and there will be gurus coming after those gurus, their duty is to, again, try to be in that mood of Srila Prabhupada. He's in the mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, also you have this case of Vasudeva Dutt, who Lord Chaitanya later on explains to him that you are incarnation of Prahlāda Mahārāja. And what was the glory of Vasudeva Dutt? He was feeling so much suffering, like not personally, means on his own account, but he was feeling the suffering of everyone in the universe actually. And he wanted to take everybody's sins, if you want to put in that Christian type of language. He wanted to take everybody's sinful or karmic reactions. That's a lot of karmic reactions. I mean, just try taking the person right next to you's karmic. I mean, just try taking all of Pacific Beach, all of their karmic reactions. In other words, all the sinful things they've ever done. Just try to take all of their reactions. It's a lot. So he was saying the whole universe, not just humans, also animal, everyone. And he said, I don't mind. I'll go to hell perpetually, as long as that these living entities could be delivered. And then Lord Chaitanya, hearing this, it said that his terminology, right? His heart melted, and he was feeling such appreciation for Vasudeva Dutt that he was willing to do this, take everybody's sinful reactions. I mean, just try to think about it for a moment. And then you suffer perpetually in hell. So then Lord Chaitanya said, no, that's not necessary. I will deliver all these living entities, and you don't have to suffer on their account. But it's interesting because this person again was incarnation Prahlāda Mahārāja, which means there's a similar mood there. Prahlāda Mahārāja has a similar mood. Srila Prabhupada has a similar mood, right? Or they're in the same mood. Prahlāda Mahārāja, Vasudeva, Srila Prabhupada. Like once, Rajendrananda Prabhu, he would mention often. I've only heard him mention. I haven't heard others mention this. Others repeat it, but that Prabhupada, when he was on the planet, physically, he allowed that all the devotees, all the disciples, the different temples, they would have murtis of Srila Prabhupada, like we have our murti here. And then one South Indian priest, Brahmin, he came to Srila Prabhupada and he was saying, "Oh, Prabhupada, says, Swami, I mean, we usually don't do such things because people, they come, they offer obeisances, to you in the form of the murti, they touch your feet, and in this way, so many people are doing that throughout the whole world, and there's some sinful reaction that you have to experience on this." And then Prabhupada looked at him and he said, "Do you not know why I've come?" So in other words, this is why I've come, to accept people's, to free people, to deliver them from material existence. And then the South Indian Brahmin, he was very surprised. And he just, he circumambulated Srila Prabhupada, and then he just left. It was kind of very difficult to understand Prabhupada's. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is very interested in giving people Krishna consciousness, which, as was mentioned, as has been, excuse me, it's been mentioned in some classes recently that's the point of the temple here. Otherwise, we have no business in the city. City life is tamasic life. City life is rajasic life. City life is hellish life, actually. Naturally, devotees will live in nice, quiet, clean air, right? Not by a bunch of cars passing by with smog, and clean air and clean water, nice clean river flowing by, and quiet, and nice vegetables growing, and fruits, and cows grazing, and beautiful temples and houses and structures, and sattvic mode of goodness in nature, village, right, life. But the only purpose of the temple is just to give people Krishna. That's it. Or else we would just close the temple and just go to somewhere. Now, there's direct and then there's indirect. Okay, keeping the temple going, the deity worship, very important. Also for devotees' inspiration. Prabhupada said there's two tracks, right? The preaching and the giving Krishna consciousness, and then the puja or worship track. So deity worship is very important because it puts a lot of pressure. Okay, get up early. If there weren't deities here, okay, maybe get up early, be clean. There a lot of things it helps with, and also just getting purified. Such close association with Krishna in the form of the deity is purified. So yeah, there's that track, and then there's other track of preaching. And again, okay, there's direct going out, which could mean in different things: Harinam, book distribution, college preaching, very, very important. I mean, we're in like a prime location near SDSU, UCSD, USD, so many community colleges. And then all of these young people who are going there, generally young people go, sometimes older. But all the young people there, they have their whole life ahead of them. They're not sure what they're going to do with their life. So for devotees to go there, distribute prasadam, distribute books, distribute flyers, very, very important, because of course not everybody who is there, anyways, but there's people, intelligent people there. It's very important to go these places, colleges. So yeah, direct, and then there's indirect, keeping the temple clean, very, very important, maintained. I mean, Srila Prabhupada, again, he told his disciple Tamal Krishna Goswami about Juhu. He said, don't let 1 inch of my property deteriorate. That's a constant challenge, because that's the nature of things in the material world. They deteriorate. So in other words, he's saying stay on top of it. Don't let things degrade. You know, something's broken, fix it. Find somebody to fix it. Very, very important. And also, not just fixing things, but beautifying things, the temple. And it's a constant, you know, battle. Like Prabhupada Das was here, he painted so many things, which would have cost thousands and thousands of dollars, which, you know, sometimes we feel we don't have for that. But and man hours. So many hours, so much. And then he made a comment that it's just like a boat. You know, you start on this side, you fix things, you paint things, and you get to that side, but then you got to start back. You know, something else is broken. So anyways, it's good, nice service. So indirect and direct ways. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is very interested in trying to give Krishna consciousness to others, and then we'll see this in the next chapter, how he's giving Krishna consciousness to his classmates. And again, with the next verse, it's going to mention that one should start in the beginning. Means one should be trained in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of one's life. And this is for different reasons. One reason is, as being stated here, you could say there's they're less polluted at that point of being young. In other words, you go past 5, 10, 15, 20, and there's a lot of you could say contamination that happens in this world, sinful activities, especially in this age, Kali Yuga, and especially just even within the last 20 years, there's increase of it, contamination. Now, of course, people can come to Krishna consciousness later. It is possible. It's not impossible, but Prabhupada would stress from the very beginning, if possible, from the very beginning. Just like Prabhupada would give the example of, as Prabhupada would term it, sex life. That was Prabhupada's term, sex life. Not just sex, but sex life. You know, because there's many things that go with sex life. But he would give the example that young children, they have it's not at all in their mind. It's actually a very wonderful thing to not have it at all in your mind. You know, that's some of the innocence of children, actually. Because, you know, later on the lust comes out, the anger comes. I mean, of course, you could be angry as a child too, but all of these things tend to really become strong later. But they have no thought of it at all. So if they're trained, you could say, to know what it really is, rather than trained to think that it's what it's not, they have a better chance to be, you could say, self-controlled or more, transcendental to such mundane things. So that's one example that Srila Prabhupada gives, that as young boys or girls, there's no thought of it, sex life. So if they're trained to control their senses from the very beginning, then they have a better chance throughout their life. And as Prabhupada says here, thus they become steady within the cores of their hearts, and there is very little possibility that they will be conquered by the modes of material nature when they're older. So it's so important, this education from an early age. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, he stressed that there should be, this is an educational movement. Educational, there's so many classes, right? Every morning, every evening, so many books. It's an educational movement. We're meant to become educated, especially those who are leaders or who want to become leaders. They have to be educated. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada had all of these ideas. He wanted to start universities. He wanted to take over the world. And one of the ideas Srila Prabhupada had was Gurukul. Means there would be schools where young boys would go, and then girls have their training also. A bit different, but where they would go and they would become educated from a very young age, and they would be trained as Goswamis. They'd be trained as pure devotees of Krishna, in which they could contribute, one, just to the wholesome, you could say, devotee community, even if they don't become big preachers or something, but at least they're good devotees. That's the one thing lacking in this world, devotees. Or they could become also preachers or acharyas. Now, of course, there's been a lot of failure in this regard, in the Gurukul system, which this class we're not going to get into at all. And many of you may know about that. I don't think it's necessary to talk about that right now, but the failures of Gurukul. But the idea is good. And just because there's been failure executing a particular idea doesn't mean the idea is bad. The idea is good. So it's a challenge for the members, especially leaders of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to try to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire for Gurukuls, for example, and many other things. There's many other things. So it's the leader's challenge to try to fulfill these desires of Srila Prabhupada, but we shouldn't think it's impossible. It's very possible, and Prabhupada wanted it. So does anybody have any questions?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I learned something interesting in the disciple course that relates to your lecture today. And it's that a Diksha Guru like Srila Prabhupada apparently has to stay in the material universe until all of his disciples are delivered. Do you want to comment about that at all?
You want me to comment on it?
Well, if you'd like.
Okay. When Srila Prabhupada left, one of his godbrothers was approached by disciples, and they were questioning this idea of the guru staying in the universe and delivering, and the souls and this and that, similar topic. And then this particular god brother, which was a well-respected god brother, Srila Prabhupada, and it's respected by Prabhupada. He wasn't one of the god brothers who were heavily critical. Like, what was that god brother's name? What was his name? Yati Maharaj. Very critical of Prabhupada. Oh, it wasn't a god brother. Oh, god brother's disciple. Okay, I didn't know that. So, Yati Maharaj, very critical of Srila Prabhupada. I mean, that in His Holiness Giraj Swami's new book, Dancing White Elephants, Giraj Swami includes a letter from Yati Maharaj to Prabhupada directly. It was super critical. I mean, it's like, and then Giraj Das Brahmacharya at the time, under Prabhupada's direction, responds to that letter with also it's interesting, historical. But this god brother that the devotees approached is very well respected god brother, and he respected Prabhupada, and then he made the point that he said the guru is one. Now, it's not a Mayavad statement. It means that in principle the guru is one, means they all have the same mission. So yeah, devotees have an idea that, okay, well, does the guru stay personally? Or are there other gurus, you could say, acting on behalf of one's guru to deliver you? And generally it's explained that there's, you could say, other gurus who are acting on behalf of your guru to deliver you. That's how Does anybody have anything about that they'd like to add? You have a question? Okay. Yeah. There are statements like that. The Prabhupada said, "Don't make me come back." Also.
Thank you for the class. A very important topic. And I have a question to relate to education. We know that everyone have this like karma which we born with something, and we can by education we can change our life. But everything what done in this world is for this Krishna gives sanction. Nothing happen without his sanction. And so a question that as one side is like everything by karma, and so we can influence it, and even if we try to do some influence, that we don't know what will be the result. And a question that we how to say, it depends. Also, we have some free will, and we can make efforts and not expect results, but continue do it. And a question: what our role? We should how to say? We should do these efforts and try to follow Srila Prabhupada, to how to say, to follow his mood, his attitude, that and how much we should do.
Yeah. Well, everyone has could say, role to play or a part to play. But yeah, we do have, we are experiencing reactions from our past deeds. Like, for example, everyone has a particular type of body and mind. It means physical body and subtle body, based on past actions. So now a particular person's body and mind may have disadvantages. Means it may not be so conducive for Krishna consciousness. Like a body and a mind that is more inclined towards rajasic or tamasic activities. That's not so favorable for Krishna consciousness. Or, for example, an uncontrolled mind. Someone may have a hard time controlling their mind. I mean, everybody, it's a general problem. But someone may have more trouble controlling their mind due to their past activities. They have a particular mind that's hard to control. So there's certain things that can be, you could say, overcome by the, so many things can be overcome by the power of Krishna consciousness. Of course, you could say, yeah. But some of these things may be very difficult to overcome. So the idea is that, okay, we all have a particular type of, you could say, nature, and the idea is to engage that in Krishna's service, whatever that nature is. And when we say be in the mood of Srila Prabhupada, it doesn't mean that we have to take sannyas and travel over the world, like Prabhupada. Maybe. But be in the mood of Prabhupada means, in principle, means we should try to give Krishna consciousness to as many people as possible. We should be compassionate, to souls. Do you have something else in relation to this?
How understand that this compassion is this is not we can try to imitate, but it's not works. It should be, how to say, we should
be real.
We should get it from Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
And then
it's a gift.
It will be natural.
Yeah.
Like Prahlāda Mahārāja or Vasudeva Datta, very nice examples that he experienced these sufferings, and he said that please take me these reactions.
Yes.
Because of you, then they can be liberated. And interesting point that Lord Chaitanya see him, and he said that not needed to you take these reactions. I liberated anyway.
And he liberated the whole universe, right?
Yeah. And interesting point that I heard that in that time was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All souls liberated is we come after, how to say, new.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's a gift. Whatever we get in Krishna consciousness in terms of advancement, it's a gift from the spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada, for our sincere endeavors. But yeah, you could say, exhibit Vaishnava qualities like Srila Prabhupada, Prahlāda Mahārāja, it's not a cheap thing. But through purification of our consciousness, or you'd say of our heart, then these things will naturally manifest there. But yeah, we definitely don't want to imitate. Of course, Prabhupada said, imitation of a good thing is good. Better you imitate that than something else. But like one time, devotees were complaining that there was one devotee in the temple, and then he was imitating Haridas Thakur. They would come and say, Prabhu, can you come help with some service? And he says, oh no, I'm too busy imitating Haridas Thakur, because Haridas Thakur was chanting all day. So then Prabhupada said, oh, that's okay. He could imitate Haridas Thakur. He said, imitating a good thing, that's good. But the person who's imitating Haridas Thakur, he shouldn't say, when you go to him and you say, hey, Prabhu, can you help with some service? You know, we got the festival coming, we need help decorating. Can you go on books? And then if you come to him, the temple commander, if he comes to him and says, Prabhu, can you help? And he says, no, I'm busy imitating Haridas Thakur. Prabhupada said that's not good. But yeah, we don't want to inauthentically imitate, but we want to actually develop that, which through sincere chanting and hearing about Krishna, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, very important, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other aspects of devotion, we get purified and then naturally manifest. Preaching also. Yes. Speaking of preaching, Govardhan.
Thank you, Born, for the breathtaking class. So sometimes I'll meet parents, and when I ask them, what do you do? Some of them will say, I'm a teacher. And then the following question is, what do you teach? So they'll say, oh, I homeschool. And it's interesting because you'll meet like so many people. And then I'll ask them why, and they'll say, we're not satisfied with the modern educational system. And I was thinking, if they kind of understood, we have a gurukul, a nice one, and then maybe they can make devotees too.
Yeah, there's so many schools like for example, all of these Christian groups. Like there's a very beautiful school right there in La Jolla. It's a high school. And big property and beautiful buildings and the teaching. And okay, we may disagree with some of what they're teaching, but what I'm trying to say is that there's so many, you could say, institutions or religions who have started their own. I mean, if you look at like traditional universities, I mean, they're started by religious people, to educate priests and so on, like big universities throughout the world. So, yeah, Prabhupada wanted that we have schools for children, means very young and all the way, even going into university. I mean, that's the idea. Of course, we have to start somewhere, but it's very valuable because then you have, you could say, devotee teachers and proper education. And yeah, it's a whole, you could say, that's what it means to be society. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Society means it takes care of all the needs of the members. That's technically society. So, yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. Yes.
I remembered one point that Srila Prabhupada mentioned that he asked grihasthas, give me your son.
Yes. In Bombay, you would ask them.
It's very, very important moment.
Well, he would say he would tell the people that because the people in Bombay, they're wealthy, means that they have a lot of money, and their son, even if after the Gurukul education is over, he always has something to fall back on because their family business. So Prabhupada would ask the wealthy ones, okay, you have a few sons, just let me have one son. And then we'll train him in the Gurukul system, and then he could be educated as a preacher. I mean, this was Prabhupada, he was advertising in the newspapers, come and join League of Devotees, right? Where was that? In Jhansi. League of Devotees, Prabhupada's first attempt in India. For society. Join League of Devotees. We're training up preachers of the absolute truth. And we're going to send them all over the world to preach the gospel of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada was writing. So that was his idea. Get people, train them, educate them, which education means so many things. Philosophy, cooking's also part of education, instrument playing. So many things encompass education. So educate them and then send them out to preach the gospel of the Bhagavad Gita. So that was Prabhupada's idea. And he had an interesting schedule for these League of Devotees. It was practically attending all the artis and taking prasadam afterwards. Prabhupada said they get up, they attend Mangal Arti, they chant Hare Krishna, and then they have breakfast, and then there's some rest or reading, something like that, and then they go to the 12 o'clock Arti, and they have kirtan, and then afterwards they have prasadam. And it was very interesting if you look at the schedule. It was like just a bunch of kirtans in front of the deities and classes. Anyways, Prabhupada adjusted things over time with book distribution, Harinam, and so on. But all right, any last?
Hare Krishna.
So we should see ourselves like that we join Srila Prabhupada's movement, and the idea is for us to become trained in all aspects of Krishna consciousness: cooking, deity worship, giving class, leading kirtans, book distribution, Harinam. We should know how to do all of these things, be trained in them, and in this way we could contribute nicely to help Srila Prabhupada fulfill his desires, which is to, right, destroy impersonalism and void it, this tendency people have for impersonalism and voidism, to destroy people's ignorance. All right, Vijay, you have a comment?
No, I have a question.
Okay, we'll take your question then.
Yes, thank you very much, Balaram Prabhu. You're most kind, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhu, my question is based on what I see in the translation related to the children, the schoolmates of Prahlāda Mahārāja, being very much affectionate and respectful to him.
Yes.
And also their hearts and eyes being fixed upon him, and they looking at him with great earnestness. So based on this, I must say the following. There are people who, like these children, the schoolmates of Prahlāda Mahārāja, who immediately fall in love with the Hare Krishna movement, but on the contrary, there are people who become antagonistic. So based on this, my exact question is, how do you explain this difference of taste in relation to approaching the same movement? Some people fall in love and some people become antagonistic. That is my question.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Nectar of Devotion that one who takes to Krishna consciousness in this life means that they had some, you could say, contact in the last life, or they had some contact in the last life. It means they made a particular amount of advancement in the last life. So you could say some people are more pious than others. Some people are more demoniac than others. And those who are, you could say, demoniac or impious or impious, they're disgusted by devotees. Now, and the pious are attracted. Now, that shouldn't be. That needs to be, you could say, applied practically in our preaching. We can't just say, oh, this guy's demoniac, that's why he's not taken to Krishna consciousness. Or this person's pious, that's why they're taken to Krishna consciousness. In other words, there may be somebody who's demoniac, but by the association of devotees, by the good arguments of devotees, right, giving them good arguments in relation to their questions, for example, by the good behavior of devotees, by the good arguments of devotees, by the devotee's power, you could say, of being Krishna conscious, they could transform even those people. And that's the idea. And we can't just write people off, in other words, I give a bad argument and then I say, oh, that guy's demoniac, he can't understand because he's a demon, Or I'm just a complete I'm a bit of a rascal, you know, with them. I'm whatever, losing my temper or this or that, not being a good behavior. And I say, oh, that guy's demoniac. You know, that's why he's not taken to it. Or if I'm not very Krishna conscious, right? Oh yeah, these people are a bunch. I'm out there distributing books, or no one's receptive. Well, these guys are a bunch of demons, you know, right? But one, we should have good arguments. And then if they don't accept, then we could say, okay, they're demons, and I'm just joking. But we should have good arguments. And we should have good behavior. And we should be Krishna conscious. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, we did our part. And then there's pious and impious people, you know. So that's something about that. I hope you're satisfied to some degree.
Yes, your answer, it reminded me of the Madhyamadikari making use of good arguments in order to benefit innocent people and ignoring the envious.
Yes, thank you. All right, thank you. Yeah, we'd like to thank Chris for, thank you, Chris, for staying in the ashram. I mean, I keep on trying to announce Chris, you know, staying in the ashram. Yesterday in the meeting, he wasn't there, and then now he's not here. So, anyways, but maybe at breakfast. But everybody could give him your blessings. He's flying to New York tomorrow morning, like 7 a.m. Going to stay in the New York temple. Oh, really? At what time? Why? He's staying with somebody? Oh, okay, so he's leaving today. Okay. And also, this Sunday, we have a special event, very special event. It's the first initiation of Saul, Bhakta Saul. Or some people call him Sal. Some people call him Soul. But anyways, so he'll be initiated. We'll see what his new name is by His Holiness Prahlāda Swami. And that initiation will take place in the temple room here at 10 a.m. Prahlāda Swami will join us via Zoom. And it's happening at 10 a.m. because all other times are just very difficult for him. Like, for example, 6 p.m. where he is, it's 3 a.m. So it's going to happen at 10 a.m. Unless Saul, you know, gets cold feet or something. Yeah. Also, he'll be collecting Guru Dakshin, so give generously. You could send to Prahlāda. Okay, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.